Just tell me when you're ready for me to continue.
I'm ready.
Okay. And so let's see. Um, Retired school teacher. I'm an author, written a couple of books, even wrote a comic book. Um, but fast forward in our present tense, I am a trauma practitioner, and how I got into that was life experiences, especially a couple of traumatic experiences that happened. That's in the past 5 years. My brand is finding you inside of you. That is the apex of what I do now, finding you inside of you, because I feel that with all the traumatic experiences that we have, and people do not realize what really traumas are. A lot of times there are these little hidden things in our life that debilitates us. And so that's my work, my path, my calling that I do now.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Essence, before we met today, I watched your podcast, Finding You Inside of You, and it was a good talk. Like it was just how you express everything and how you share even your own personal experiences was very clear and very needed out here for others to know that there's other ways and the other route to get to knowing and finding you inside of you. And I really, really enjoyed your podcast. So if you can watch it, go watch it. And I will put like everything in the bio. I'll put both of your information in the bio for others to reach out to connect with y'all.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, thank you. In your talk, I heard you. I wrote down some things that I just really, really love that you talked about, and especially with the multiple personalities and how we learn we never knew who we were in the beginning due to how things has been programmed to us since a kid, and going towards like childhood trauma and things like that, and all the things like we are taught and believe in our childhood. Back in.
Yeah, it just booted me, but I'm back.
Awesome. I'm sorry, Essence. Did you hear what I said?
I did. I did.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more because I know just from the inner child, talking more about the inner child healing in the process of mind, body, soul development with inner child healing, and starting there, because I know from my experience and my healing journey, when I back in 2019 when I started, I literally did had to go within to find myself, and I did had to relearn why certain people was my friends, and why I had these feelings of people pleasing, not caring about what people think, needing validation from others. And I just had to like call my power back. And it took time and things I had to develop, and had to sit down and be real with myself and honest with myself why I was feeling the way I was feeling, why I couldn't really communicate clearly with people, or like emotional attachments that I had that was affecting me in my adult years, from things I had experienced as a kid in my relationship with my parents and my family members, and how I was treated at school. And you spoke on that in your podcast, and I was like, I can't. That was really the key, is starting in school and remembering, and wanted to be a part of things and how it affected me. And that's why I was needing validation from others, because I always wanted to fit in. I always
Yeah.
wanted to be in the in crowd. I always feel like I was being ignored, and I had these abandonment issues of fear of rejection, or knowing like feeling like I can't do it because I wasn't part of the cool kids, or I wasn't popular. I didn't always have the new shoes. I didn't always have the new outfits. So it just it instilled insecurity in me, and it was preventing me from doing my becoming growing in my goals as an.
Yeah.
And so when I finally found out what inner child, what I was just doing things naturally. You know, I was praying and I was talking to myself, and you know, I didn't really know the definitions of inner child healing and things like that when I first started. I just started to sit with myself and started to ask myself the whys and the questions, and I don't even have nothing in common with my close friends as much. You know, we do have some things in common, but more of like really the things that I was into, you know, like certain music or just doing things that I normally wouldn't do, like going to the parks and nature and things like that. So I just started to retreat. And so
Yeah.
you explaining that, I was like, she hit it right on the nose, um about the inner child hurt that's affecting us as an adult. Like, we just big kids. We're really
That's
just
right.
big kids wanting to be heard and nurtured and seen. And
That's
so
right.
I actually I start, because it's levels to this, and as I on this process, I started to realize my triggers. I started to be aware of my triggers, and instead of sometimes I want to be quiet, I found my voice. So I knew how to respond to certain friends or family member that might come to me, and my feelings would be hurt. And instead of my feelings be hurt, I can, and keeping it within, I can express it, or I can express myself and tell them like, no, this is what I meant, or this is the direction I was going, instead of beating myself up and looking down on myself. So I was recently triggered a few weeks ago, and because I just felt like I was ignored, and I called Reese crying and telling that was my go-to person for, like, because I needed someone that could understand what I was going through in that moment. And I just had to realize that I had to transmute the energy to work for me, instead of going against myself and doubting myself. Like, no,
Right.
you are awesome. You are her. There is people that want to hear what you got to say, because the person made me feel like I wasn't important. Um, you know, the person made sure who she wanted to be seen and they spoke. And it just made me feel like I wasn't important, and it triggered me.
Right.
So instead,
Right.
I had to, like, okay, I gotta pull my power out. I know who I am. I don't need that validation. And when it's time for recognition, it'll be time, but until then, I just got to put my energy into myself, instead of the energy of wanting to see this person see my worth.
That's right. And what you're saying is so uh insightful to your own self, right? Because when you learn about gaslighting, okay, um, and you really realize that you're being gaslighted, okay, because someone is taking away your feelings, your truth about a situation that you're having with your own self, your own inner struggle. And when you are, I'm not saying that you are, I'm just speaking generically, when a person is an empath and you are in the presence of a narcissist. See, we're not taught these things, right? But it's through our inner struggles or our traumas, or we're trying to like find ourselves inside of ourselves. Um, as we take this journey, it's painful, but it's really hindsight looking back, a very, very powerful enlightening to our own self. And I like to use this metaphor of the iceberg, because this is how this transformation started with me, looking under the iceberg and seeing what's hidden there, the little foxes,
Well,
if you
yeah,
will.
I heard you talk
The
about that.
Yeah, and see that's that part of us that's hidden, and we don't know that it's there. But the pain is saying, "Oh, there is something that's there." And when you dive down into the subconscious of yourself, which is your spirit, takes you on this inner journey, right, down into your own subconscious, and begins to pull these things out that stemmed from our childhood that we brought within us. Into our adulthood unknowing to us. And so my transformation has been wonderful because I didn't know that things were really there, but I felt something, and it really affects your relationship, not only with yourself, but just in general, where we find ourselves. And so I'm glad that you said that. And the beautiful thing about any of this is just my thoughts, um, is that to thine own self be true. When we walk in our own truth and we begin to say, oh, yeah, that's me. You take the good, the bad, and the ugly. Do you know how many people in our society are afraid of themselves?
Yes.
Afraid of themselves. But this is beautiful that we are learning not to be afraid of ourselves, and that's where the true and real healing comes from.
Yeah, going deep in, and that's like going into your shadow work.
That's
Not
right.
running from the bad parts of yourself because nobody's perfect. But how can I accept this about myself? So, because nobody know you better than yourself. So how can I accept this? So when somebody try to come and trigger me or try to comment on my flaws, I say I know this, and I accept this for who I am, while I am learning to find me inside of me. The things I would like to actually work on. Sorry, I'm also reading some of my notes that I wanted to talk about as well, because I wanted to talk also with our ego, how our ego repress our shadows to keep us safe. And I'm sorry, you got off mute. Was you about to say something?
Who, me?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
you.
you know how I feel about the ego and our true
Yes.
self. Um, I am learning through reading and through self experience that we have a true light within us. And in yogi principles, it's called your Atman, or Atman is Atman. And it's basically, you hear people that go to church frequently say things like, it's the God in me, or it's the light in me. And that's your Atman. And when you're living in that aspect, that's your higher self. Like, you're not living within the flesh. You understand that your flesh is here to help guide you through the physical aspect of life, but it isn't you. But once the ego begins to get involved and we pick up, our ego grows stronger as we experience those traumas and different events, then our ego keeps us from being able to tap into our Atman, or our Atman, however it's pronounced. I might be pronouncing it wrong. And so it's the constant battle of silencing our ego and then becoming one with our inner self, the God or the spirit within us. And so that's why I'm such an adamant advocate for yoga, because yoga helps us silence the ego and become present in the now, thus, connecting us to our higher self so that we can hear and actually come here and fulfill the purpose that we were intended.
Yeah, with developing the mind, body, and soul. So like ascending equal, like evolving spiritually and reaching a higher consciousness and moving from a space of love and unconditional love, with with ourselves and with others, and not judging others. Because, and like you spoke on your podcast as well, Essence, with the relationship with our parents. Like, we can't blame our parents for the things that we have been through, because they tried the best they could with the tools that they had themselves. So going into like the generational curses and healing generational patterns of habits and bad habits that may have that passed down to you and program to you, that's keeping you from ascending mind, body, and soul. And I did, I went to actually one of Reese's yoga classes last Sunday, and it was so healing. And we did yin together, and it was really, really healing, and really, it really released a lot of like things that I thought I healed from completely. To it was like it was a little spicks of it still running through my aura that needed to be cleared. And I really, really enjoyed that class and that session with her. Do you do yoga, Essence?
I have never done yoga, but I
Mhm.
understand the concept, the spiritual part of it. And I've not found anyone, I'm very interested in it, but in my area, I haven't found anyone that I feel led or connected um, to even take a class.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love like trying new things that help me release any energy that might be lingering around, or like even in the present. Like, I needed clarity on some decisions that I needed to make soon in my life, but I got that clarity by just quieting my mind with yoga.
Now
So
I do body training, lifting weights, and I do that 3 times a week to
nice.
release well, not just to release energy, but because healthy, strengthening your body, and all of that comes along with that. And my coach is a spiritual lady, meaning that she understands mind, body, and spirit connection. Um, so I do that, and meditation, uh, those sorts of things like that. And massages. I try to make sure I at least do that twice a month. To release that energy that's trapped, or for the purposes of um, realigning the body, to making sure my body is in alignment, because your body can tell you through feeling that something is off in it.
Yes, yes, especially being an empath. And that is another thing. When I started my journey, I started to realize what was mine and what was other people's, what was projection and what was not mine. When I found out who I was within, finding like going within to heal my thought patterns and things, I was able to really learn how to deal with other people's energy when it became to protecting my energy and my bubble. So that is uh, one thing I wanted to share and speak on to people about the thoughts and how powerful our thoughts are, and how we learn to become more in control of people, places, and things that we decide to surround ourselves around during our healing process. And when we are learning to transition. Because I know with me, I had to like, I didn't really want to be around a lot of people. It was just me, myself, and I, and God, with that relationship of relearning who I was and reprogramming my thoughts and my beliefs. And and actually following my dreams and actually knowing like I can make it happen. It's up to me to make my dreams come true when I was a kid. So that's how I focus on nurturing and taking care of my inner child by actually focusing on the things that I wanted to do, that I felt like I was ignored, I wasn't accepted, I was abandoned, and wasn't seen in. So I look forward to on this journey to see, to be an example of what it is to heal, how it is to heal, and relearning, relearning certain programs that has been placed to keep us from um, life, heaven on earth, having that bliss here, and walking in that truth and walking in that enlightenment that Jesus had intended for to teach everyone how to do and becoming enlightened.
Yeah, that is now that right there. Oh, that's a topic within itself, Christ consciousness,
Yes,
um, and which is enlightenment. And um, I'm also really involved in ministry, but from the perspective of metaphysical, okay, or the esoteric, and to understanding, not from a linear perspective, but when you said that, Christ consciousness, and the question that I'm not asking myself, because I could really answer the question, but as far as, kind of like to jolt some people that I know personally, like, okay, what was Christ conscious about? Which means what was, quote, he aware of? And so, and when you said that, and you mentioned something about the empath, and I'm finding myself really sitting with myself, and it's like that's something not necessarily new for me, but I noticed that I'm really like uh being home, and where I live at, I'm like in, nature, because I live out in the county or the country, as people would have you. But I'm finding that uh, I'm in tune a lot with nature, whereas nature begins to talk to you, and nature will talk if you listen. Okay. And so when you said that about being an empath, and I'll end with saying this, that knowing that that is a part of my journey, I'm learning to be a little bit cautious with that. And what I mean by that is this: my energy, because I pick up energy like really quick. I can pick up your energy really quick, and I don't necessarily need to say all that I see and what I feel. And I'm learning to just curtail that, because I don't need to say all of what I see, and
yes,
especially what I feel. Okay. And
hmm,
so uh, I'll just end that right there. But when you said that, that lets me know that, okay, where I'm at with this, it's not my imagination, it's real, because you brought something out with what you just said.
yes, yes, most definitely connecting, going outside, and I look, see, I have a pro. I don't know how to wear a mask. I don't know how to not be me. And someone explained to me their feelings, they on their healing journey, and they were like, some things, basically we're saying that some things are black and white, don't always have to be spiritual. And with me, I'm like, everything is always spiritual with me because that's the life I live every day. I wake up, pray, I wake up, I'm looking outside. I'm looking for what I need to do next. Hey, what do I need to pay attention to today? Hey, can you show me a butterfly today? Can you show me a cardinal today to, let me know you hear me, spirit, or I'm on the right track. So nothing is not a coincidence to me. And so that's where I'm at in my phase right now, is learning. Like you don't knowing who to share certain things with and who not to share certain things with, because not everybody get it yet. hopefully they will. And some people not ready to receive it, even when spirit is presented to them to get ready. Like, I feel like certain people, there's a reason why I am placed in their life, and vice versa. For that reason, it's either hey, you need some type of guidance in the physical, because you're not really connected with God in the spiritual. You're having problems connecting on that. So I feel like there's where you might run across somebody in path, and it's up to you to, in your free will, to decide whether you're going to join, or get ready, or to listen, or to heal, or but some people choose not to be, and that's okay. So I'm learning, just to let people and things come to me, and now I'm really finding my soul family. I have an outlet of people I can connect with that can understand, because it's so exciting, it's so fun, and we go through things, and we go through bad things too. But it's nice to like actually have someone to be like, I understand. You can share these things with me. We can talk to each other, because it gets a lot. It can get overwhelming, feeling like you're the only one experiencing things. So that's why I was so happy when I did finally connect with you, Essence, because you helped me realize, okay, you explain things so well. Oh, I know you were awesome. I know your students loved you, because you just explain things really, really good for people to understand. So I really thank you for that. And it's not easy. I know we sit here talking about it, but it's the hardest thing you will ever do is challenge yourself to overcome those bad habits, going back to heal the abuse, the narcissism, the gaslighting, that you experience at different ages in your life, because you're not going to go to one memory at 5 years old that something happened to you. You working your way to 10, 20, 30, wherever you are, unraveling these things in your life. And so it's not easy. It's the hardest thing you can ever do is become someone you've never been before, and working towards your goals and your dreams that people have probably instilled doubt in you, not believing in you, to actually like, I gotta believe in myself. So it's hard. So that's when it's always nice to connect with someone like Reese, or someone like Essence, like the yoga practitioner. And like I already said, yoga really helped me. I share, you wasn't on here, Reese. I share my experience with you today. Yeah, I shed a little tears, and it was just very, very, very healing to have experienced that. And so, or a transformation coach, and I'm a spiritual advisor. So it's all about finding your ways and connecting with different people that can help you on your journey here, because you do not have to do it by yourself. And at the beginning, when I started, I did like the first few months, I was just like, I don't even know who to talk to. But I found someone online to connect with. She lived all the way in Russia. I was already here in Michigan. And that was like my first, I want to say my first mentor I had. And she just helped me understand certain things all the way in Russia. But she was from Michigan and lived in Russia. And I eventually met her. She ended up coming, and I met her, and she just gave me some resources, some tools, and share some things about myself, about myself that I needed to know on a spiritual level to get to the next level. Because I was doing so much, by myself, just listening, going within. So yes, do anyone else want to talk about their experiences as they're like the healing the inner child in the wombs in that area?
I could talk about mine.
Yes.
I think at the time where my journey really started, I didn't realize what was about to happen, or if there was even a thing that I needed to heal at that point in time. I just know that It started with yoga. It started with my yoga practice. I was going to this gym and they advertised yoga classes. And for whatever reason, well, I know the reason now, but for whatever reason, I had always wanted to take a yoga class. Like I was super drawn to it. And I ended up going because I wanted to touch my toes. Like it didn't have anything to do with being spiritual or starting a journey or nothing like that. Like I just wanted to touch my toes and become more flexible. And so at the time, like I grew up in the church, but I still had questions as to like um a lot of things that we talk about in the church, but it's still very vague, right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, it was real big on fear, but then at the same time, we were supposed to have faith. And to me, that was a contradiction. So I didn't understand it. And then when I would ask, nobody could really explain it in a way that made sense to me. You know what I mean? I didn't understand how a God that was, you know, that is all knowing and all powerful and that gave us this message of love and faith and hope would punish me if I made one mistake by burning me for the rest of like I didn't get the concepts. So I was in a real place where like I knew that a greater thing existed, but I wasn't sure about, you know, the religion aspect of it. And so I went to yoga class and I remember after the first class, like I just remember being at a level of peace that I have never experienced, like at that point, had never experienced. Like even on vacation, even by the beach, like I had never experienced this amount of peace, which is what kept me coming back. And then one particular day, she had us set our intentions for the practice. And this was something new. And I'm like, okay, intentions. And she's like, you know, a goal. If you want clarity on something, you just set your intentions before you start practicing. And I did that. And one of the things that I wanted to know was like clarity. Like, what is
Mhm.
my purpose? What am I here for? What do I need to do? Type thing. And so at the very end of the practice, I remember having like this overcoming feeling like you need to become a yoga instructor. You need to give this back to the community. So then as I began to take my yoga teacher training, that's when I started doing like a lot of shadow work. But the way it came about, it wasn't something I was trying to do. It was almost like it was put directly in my path for me to have to address it. Does
Mhm.
that make sense, right? So like
Yes.
I would go through an issue and I'd be like, dang, why is this so difficult? And then I would go to yoga or I would do yoga and it would unravel itself. Like, oh, like for instance, me and my mom always had a strained relationship. Always. Like I'll say maybe in my younger years we were okay, but like halfway through, you know, junior high around in there, our relationship was super strained. And at that point in time in my life, it was still very much so strained. And I remember meditating at the start of the day with that on my heart, because sometimes I don't always have the words to say or the clarity to be like, okay, this is the issue that I need to address, but it was on my heart because her and I had just got into it about something I can't even remember. So it had to be something, you know,
Yes.
small, but we got into it. So it was on my heart as I was meditating. And I ended up doing yoga. And at the end, I was sitting in my car and it just came to me like, you are charging your mother for something that she did her best at. You know what I'm saying? And it just, the whole thing with she showed her love in a different way than what I could receive it. We spoke two different love languages. And so my whole entire childhood, I felt like my mother didn't love me because I needed words of affection and encouragement, and I needed to be told. But that wasn't my mom. Like my mom showed love by buying stuff and providing and this, that, and the third. So I had everything I needed besides the words of encouragement. So it always read to me as if she didn't love me. But just being able to have the amount of clarity to understand that and put it where it goes, you know what I mean? And to clear.
Yeah.
So that was my journey. And it was like I would deal with that. And then, some time would pass by and then something else would be put in my path. Like, oh, here's something else.
Yeah, we need to fix this.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for sharing, because that is really where that healing the generational trauma come from. Like, when you're actually willing to put in the work and not like fight against the parent, and actually work with the parent and hoping that that parent catches on and like want to put the work in it. And if they don't, you're like, okay, they tried their best. They thought about it. They tried their best. So it's okay. You do create your own boundaries to protect your own bubble. And one time, like, cause I deal with similar things with my mom, and my mom told me, she said, Amari, it took me like 30s, 40s to realize everything that you realize within me than what she did with her mom. So it's like, okay, if we get in there, so I know I'll be better, with my kids with certain things, and then they'd be way better than me. And so that is again where a good example of generational trauma and curses that be placed, especially within women, especially coming from, because I know you spoke, but with the slavery times, you spoke on that too, Essence. I just finished watching it, so it's just like fresh here, something like let's go watch Essence podcast. So that is like everything is like really reprogramming and transforming the DNA within our bloodline to actually come back and put the work in to build our empires back up. And I remember, like, as a kid, I used to have to write my emotions down. I couldn't go to my parents and just talk to them and express myself to them. I had to go write a letter and give it to them, because for some reason my parents didn't really make me feel comfortable talking to them. And so I still be trying to figure out why. I think it's the aggressiveness that we have, but I had to always just write things down to express myself. And even now, I'm a better writer than I do speaking, especially when I'm trying to get comfortable. I have a hard time expressing myself unless I type it or write it out. So yes, let me see. I don't want to miss anything that I took my notes on that I wanted to talk about. I do just want to speak on, like, just again being patient with yourself and learning how to realize when you are triggered. Oh, Essence. This is something I wrote down, and y'all have to go watch her podcast. It's very, very, very awesome. When you realize, wondering why you was always looking for love, because I relate to that. Like, I had this hopeless romantic mindset, like, where is the love of my life? I was always searching for love outside of myself, and I'm finally really now getting to a point of like not caring and like being no attachments to that. And when it's ready and it's time. But yes, Essence, I really want to speak on that with you, because I highly, highly, highly relate to it.
Wow. And there's some history behind that, okay? Looking for love in all the wrong places and looking for love in too many faces, right? Because let me back up for just a second. I was married for 33 years, right? And this is leading up to that. I was married for 33 years. And my husband passed away, and he died suddenly, right? No warning. You're talking to somebody, and 2 hours later, they're dead. So I went on this journey of looking for love because I didn't realize back in my childhood, that's where it started. And so moving forward with me looking for love and healing this inner child, I felt myself in places where I wouldn't ever have chosen, well, with the individual, I put it like that I would never have chosen to begin with. But see, that looking for that love, that I didn't have the self love within my own self, and I didn't realize it because I was never taught that. I didn't see the generation of women before me, and even generations of women, period, even talking about self love, knowing what self love is, but become a people pleaser to try to get love from this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And so then it became for me the addiction for the need to be loved. And the addiction came from, because an addiction is something that, you have to have because that dopamine has felt something, you know? So you want to keep that feeling going. Oh, I wanted to keep that feeling going. So looking for love outside of myself, um, it took me down with a particular individual. It took me way down in the rabbit's hole. Because honestly speaking, I've never been hurt by a man before because I hadn't had those experiences, right? And so being very hurt by a narcissist. Now, think of that, a narcissist and an empath coming together, and you're really setting yourself up to be used because they suck your energy, because um, of the way you're made, your DNA, and you're not really aware that uh, not being really used. You don't get that to hindsight. And so that looking for that love, I found myself when I came to myself, my higher self kicked in, okay?
Mhm.
That, you are looking for something outside of yourself. You're looking for validation. You're looking for affirmation. You're looking for someone to do something for you. And guess what? The choice that you made was actually the wrong one.
Mhm.
um I mean, it was the wrong one, okay? But the learning lesson for that was so valuable because what did it do? It taught me, or it put me on the path of self-love. It put me on the path that you never give away your integrity or your value, just to be loved. Check this out, by an individual that don't love themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, that's a lot more to that. But for the sake of time, I'm going to do other podcasts on that because I will share other parts of that story because it's so deep and it's so entrenched that we're not realizing that we're looking for love outside of ourselves. But what does that look like?
Yes. 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 That's why I had to, learn how to date yourself. Like, I'm gonna go buy myself flowers. I'm gonna hug myself today. I'm going to love on myself. I'm going to date myself. I'm going to heal myself so I won't be looking for somebody else to make me happy, because I can make me happy with my choices and the things that I do. I rather do it by myself than to be giving my energy and giving things away and it's not reciprocated the same way. You want the love that you give back, and that is something that I really really learned. Like, I I've never, people, I never really had a boyfriend before, like no serious relationship, and it's people be so surprised, and it just really come from me not wanting to settle. I just really just waiting for someone that I rather have someone that put the work in themselves, and instead of me trying to fix them. I always feel like I can fix somebody, and I can make this person the person that I want them to be, and that's not the case. I can't control nobody, because all I'm doing is hurting and damaging myself at the end and not getting anywhere. So I really, really, really appreciate y'all too for coming on here today to speak with me. And it's like, is there anything else someone would like to share before we end? All
Yeah,
right.
I would like to add this part to that, about my journey with that, because I was looking for something that I didn't realize I was looking for, if that makes sense. Looking for love, and that was a big one for me, you all, because that was a part of myself that it went beyond just this individual. That's what drew me back to my childhood, because I'm asking myself, where did this come from? And to thine own self be true. What did this individual, why was this individual allowed to even to be in my presence? Because what is it that I needed to learn?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
I wanted to add that part.
Yes. And that's
Um,
where sorry, Reese. Go ahead.
the only thing I wanted to add is the look for part. Anyway, I feel like a lot of times we run into walls or run into mishap because we are looking. Instead with God or spirit are in His voice. And so a lot of times we have
Reese,
expectations.
your signal was breaking up.
Ooh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I heard you about like not looking for it.
Not looking, not searching, not trying to control, but going with
Yeah.
the ebb and flow of life and allowing things to be and allowing it to come when it's supposed to come, and
Yes.
not putting expectations on so many things that we can't control, because that's when they start to go left. Or a lot of times, even with prayer, I, or we pray with a cloudy mind and we ask for something that we think we want, and then we get it and we like, oh, who asked for this? Like, I didn't, this is not what I wanted, but it is. And so a
Yeah.
lot of times, like I said, we try to create instead of just allowing ourselves to be and allowing it to flow.
Yeah, and I think that's where it comes with it, accepting your shadow self, accepting the parts of you that you don't like about yourself, that you didn't even realize that you were doing. And so I know part of me, especially that came with my healing journey of like I could be a little what's the word? Like my ego sometimes, like with like, because it's like I didn't, for a long time I didn't know how to express myself or communicate myself. So it's like now that I know who I am, I have to learn how to make my ego healthy, and I have all this Leo energy. And so like astrology is one of those other things that help me.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I knew it. I knew it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt and jump in, but
No.
I knew it,
Yeah.
Amari.
Yeah.
Because um oh my gosh. My son is in the fifth house. And
Yes.
if looking at my shadow self and all of that, and my childhood back there, it's like, golly, in my past life, the
Mm-hmm.
wounds, those wounds, and that's why this is so big for me. But intuitively, I'm like, golly, I know she has that Leo energy. She's got to shine, because we see ourselves in others. And even who is this, Reese? Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
I see all of us. So I mean, you see yourself in others. But I'm sorry, Amar, but when you
Don't
said that,
be.
I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, universe.
Yes, because that was another thing. That's learning astrology really helped me. When I read my birth chart, I was like, that's why I feel the way I feel about my family. Oh, I'm not tripping. This is why I feel the way. Oh, I'm a Cancer moon, which that's why I'm an overeater and I overindulge in food when I feel attacked or I feel some type of anxiety. I gotta go eat me some chocolate and stuff like that. Like that's just how I end up like learning how to, okay, if I don't work on discipline, I'm going to never not be happy if I don't focus on my discipline. Like I have to, that's going to be hard, but I have to master this due to certain things in my birth chart. I'm here to, I have to work hard for my dreams. It's not going to come easy like it might for some people. I have to work hard due to whatever past life experience and karmic debt I have to pay off. It's not going to come easy. So yes, learning my birth chart is what helped me during this
That's
phase.
beautiful.
Yes, Essence, I'm a Leo Sun, Leo Mercury, Leo Venus,
Oh wow.
Leo Rising.
Well, tell you what, I'm let me just go down my little list. I'm an Aquarian, um, Scorpio moon, Virgo rising, Gemini midheaven, and my sun and a couple of other planets sits right in the fifth house.
Well, I'm all 12
Uh,
house.
say that again.
I'm all 12 house.
Okay, but yeah, I understand my birth chart, and knowing that has really shaped a lot of oh my gosh, I get it.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
I
Reese,
don't
what you
know
about to say
my whole
something?
birth. I don't know
Oh,
my whole birth chart. I know I'm a Scorpio rising, Aquarius moon, and Virgo. No, Scorpio is my sun sign.
yes.
Aquarius is my moon sign, and then my rising is Virgo. That's
Yes. Yes.
what
I see all of that. I love it.
And I'm a
Yes.
life path one.
Okay. And what's Life Path One again?
That's leadership all day long. It's
Um,
like, it's like the Aquarian Uranus. It's like I know. It's like I already know. Okay, I get it.
yes. Yes.
And so that life path one, a natural born leader, because you've already researched the territory. You've already been there and back, and you're like, okay, y'all, come on,
Yeah.
let's
Do it
do
again.
it.
Let's do it again. Yeah. I'm Life Path number 9. So all about changing the planet, being an empath and serving the community, humanity,
Mm.
and being
I'm
that
a
healer. 7. I love sevens.
knowledge seeker.
Yeah. I met a 7. I haven't really looked into ones, but I met a 7 before.
Yes,
They
knowledge
were
seeker. Me to a T. I am always researching something, reading the book, going to a class, trying to. Don't tell me nothing because I'm gonna try and figure it out
Yeah,
all
Reese,
the
you
times.
you still doing that book, the
The book club.
book club?
Yes, I'm still doing it. I created a Facebook page just for us to be able to interact with everyone. But everybody really wasn't active, so I kind of fell back from it a little bit. Because if we were our first book was The Alchemist, and The Alchemist is close to my heart.
Okay,
And
okay.
so I'm like, if
Great
I
book.
want more participation, but it wasn't a lot. So
Got it. We got to work on that.
we do.
Oh,
We
I
do.
didn't sign up, but I would love to. I thought about it and I was like, I want to do the book club. I think it helped me read. Like, actually, you need to read because
Yeah,
you got somebody
yeah.
hold you accountable. Like, we about to meet up and talk about this.
Yes. Yeah.
What you know, what you get from it. Like, and
Yeah.
it could be
And
fun. See,
Alchemist is that one. That Alchemist is a game changer. I think going in this time, this is my third time reading it, and
Yeah.
something else stuck out to me. And I was like, dang, I did not notice.
you didn't catch it. Yes, I loved it.
Right, right. Do you all read the tarot cards?
I do tarot. And
Okay, we on the same boat.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind, where are you all at? What state? I'm in North Carolina.
Michigan.
We're both in Flint. I remember I told you last time we were in. I was in Flint with Harold.
Okay, well,
Yep.
I forgot.
Yep.
I'll
Yes.
be coming up that way. But I do a lot of traveling, right? In Michigan.
Mm.
And I forgot what the agenda is, but I just know it's gonna be a great trip. It's 8 days.
Ooh.
And yeah, so I'll be up in your neck of the woods and well in the state of Michigan. But
Yeah.
anyway.
I would love to meet up with you. I'll come to you. Me and her met on a different podcast, Reese.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's how. And I just was like, I just connected, and she just very inspiring, very motivational. Um,
Okay.
on her social media. So she's been one of those people. She don't even look, she's been helping me.
Yeah.
I needed you to be posting stuff. I'm like, I needed to see that. It'd be right on time too.
Mm.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Miss Essence.
Thank you.
Yes,
And
but
Reese, send me a friend request via Facebook.
I will. I definitely.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
yes, but Cars Essence was also one of those things that helped me as well on my journey, and to help guide me and to help guide others. I've helped so many people with my cards. It's been that's one thing I love about reading cards, is being able to help people on their journey that need clarity and confirmation in the present, to help them get through. I actually got us a card before we end today.
Great.
Let's
Great.
see if we got prayer feather for us that came out for us in the collective out there. So we have: love is flowing to you and through you, no matter what an individual is saying or doing. Love him on her or her anyway. Gather
Mm.
your inner forces silently and secretly love deeply and fully with every ounce of your being, even if someone isn't fulfilling your expectations. Whoa, we talked about that.
Mm.
It's
Mhm.
easy to
Mm.
love people when they are acting wonderfully. The true challenge is to love them when they aren't.
Mhm.
Feathers in native cultures often represent a connection with the creator. Birds often symbolize messages between the two humans and spirit. This is your time to love and be loved. The
Mhm.
love that you send out into the world comes back to you 100-fold. There are times when the small concerns of everyday life need to drop away and be replaced by the majesty of your being. This is that time. Prayer
Mhm.
feathers are decorated feathers that can be used for many purposes. In some traditions, prayers are placed into the feather. You can hold it to your heart or between your hands as you focus on your prayer, and then tie it onto a bush so when the wind blows, it carries the prayers to the Creator. Another kind of prayer feather is decorated feather, or a decorated bundle of feathers that are used for smudging sacred smoke ceremonies. The smoke is to cleanse the space as well as carry your prayers upward. For a day, love each person you encounter. Imagine a golden ray of light from the center of your heart radiating to the center of the heart of that individual. Notice how great you feel by the end of the day. Now look.
Wow.
Mm.
That's yes.
Look,
Yeah.
yes. I got two stories to share because Reese,
Mhm.
me and Reese, me and Reese beat each other for the past couple weeks. Called like, hey, I'm going through this. Y'all having a good day? I'm going through this. I'm having a good day.
Mhm.
So me and Reese had a conversation the other day, and Reese it was one of Reese's turn. And I'm like, yo, you gotta look at this person like and be like, one thing I learned this week, someone energy was so strong, like the negative energy. I had to like look at them was like, okay, I like their eyes. Their hair is beautiful. They shirt is really pretty because their energy was so strong. So I was like, okay, it was helping it to prevent it from coming into my bubble by sending that person love. And so, you know, me and Reese actually had that conversation about like, it's hard when somebody getting on your nerves, you know, but it's like, it's something you build and you work on to protect our energy.
Yes,
The other day, someone I just met, but we was working on having a tight friendship. You know, we was calling, we was talking, we was telling each other everything we didn't like about each other. Everything. We were actually communicating like, I don't like the way you do this, and you know, hours straight talking about stuff we don't like about each other. After the phone ended, for a minute I sat and I called her back. I was like, can you tell me something you do like about me? And I tell you something I do like about you. Can we at least do that? Like, thank you for picking up. So it's really important to like actually know like nobody's perfect, and it is easy to love people when they up. You love people when they down.
right. Oh wow.
That you brought that card up, because remember the conversation, or that you pulled that card, because remember the conversation. I think it was that same day, and I was telling you about the woman who had a near death experience, and she came back with a message.
Oh yeah.
And one of her messages was from her spirit guides, and her spirit guides gave her 5 things to bring back to earth, and one of them was for us to love, like, no matter what. And she was saying, like, you know, her spirit guides made it very clear you didn't have to do the other 4, but the number 1 was the most important. And the thing she touched on in the book was when somebody comes with all this negative energy, or they're not behaving in a certain way, or they're, you know, being real nasty, to see them as the spiritual being that you see yourself as. Like, you know that you are of, you know, spirit, and you are a creator, and you have all that love and light in you, and to be able to see that in them, you know, when they get to cutting up, and it's the same exact thing.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah,
again, we know it's not easy.
it's not.
It took
Right.
trials and tribulations and a lot of going off on people to build to
A
build
lot
this
of conditioning too.
right, to build this, like, okay, and knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You know, I want to say this about those feathers. When you know, feathers symbolize things, and it also symbolizes the presence of an angel.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay, and so wherever you saw the feather, that's the presence of an angel that was there, right? And so I've had these experiences, not a lot of them, but enough that I pick up these feathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the other day, I saw a feather, and I just have to confess, I'm like, I don't want to pick up that feather.
Yes.
I don't, but it's like when you were reading that card, I'm thinking, okay, where did I see that feather at?
Mhm.
And so what came to me is don't despise or minimize, meaning making something small. That's when you are in a spiritual presence.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I saw the feather, I'm like, I saw it kind of like at a distance, but I didn't want to walk over there. I'm like, I don't want to pick up any more feathers because I have an altar, right? And I've got feathers on it from places, even in New York. I found a feather, right? So I'm just conscious of that. But when you read
Uh-huh.
that, it prompted something in me. Don't do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a test to have you want to look at it, um, to see if I was going to continue to follow. It's like a little story, Hansel and Gretel. You know, they followed the crumbs to be able to find their way back. Like I should have picked up that feather, but there was a lesson. Don't think that that was a small thing. You should have picked up the feather. That was the presence of an angel or a messenger that was there, and you overlooked that.
Denied it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So
Wow.
Yes.
first passed away, I will find feathers all over the place, all over. And then I will pick them up and put them somewhere. Then another day I'll come downstairs and it would be more feathers. And I'm like, where are all these feathers coming from? And I ended up talking to my shaman, and he was like, you know, your loved one is coming, and that's his way of letting him know, or let you know that he was there. And so he said something like, when you are in the presence of that, because he was speaking to me through music too. And a lot of times I thought that I was losing it. And he was like, no, acknowledge it. Like, say out loud, like, okay, I know you here. You know, I see
Yeah.
you. I can feel your presence in those moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
That hit me too. I was like, feathers.
Yeah. And that's where it's
Mhm.
being aware, like actually being aware and in tune, like you spoke on essence earlier with nature. You be feeling like you saying too much for certain people, and it's just like that's where it's at. You know, that's how I am able to get through life and through the challenges and through the losses due to that connection of me listening.
Yes.
So yes, thank you. I seen a feather this week.
Did
I'm on
you?
my way to the gym.
Mm.
On the way, I was just like, I see you. I see you. Like, peace is here. Love is here. You know. So thank you again for. I don't want to take up any more of y'all time. I really, really appreciate y'all coming on today, and I will put everyone information in the bio below to contact Essence, to watch her podcast, and to connect with Reese for yoga here in Flint. Reese, you doing online yoga for people? Would you do a
Yeah.
virtual yoga?
So
Would you
I was
consider it?
Spirit told me a long time ago to start a YouTube page, but
So
I've been dragged.
yeah, so be on the lookout for Reese YouTube with
I just
yoga.
don't like editing. Ugh,
I
editing.
hope you do.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah,
You know.
it's awesome. So yes, and give us a like, subscribe, and share to help someone out there. And much love to y'all. And we will stay in touch. So, bye, y'all.
Peace and light.